Hello and thank you for joining. Today's tutorial is going to be Java tutorial number 10, and what we're going to do today is we're going to put together several of the items that we talked about previously and build a basic program here. What we're going to do is we're going to create a bank program, and we're going to do a couple of things here. We're going to do deposits, withdrawals, get the balance, and then we're also going to work with multiple classes. So we're going to have two classes for this program. And we are also going to talk about public versus private variables a little bit. And finally, you're going to see how to create an object within Java. So I'm going to jump right in here. I've already created a new package in Java called Bank Demo. So now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to right click it and say create a new Java class. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an account class. And then you'll recall in the other ones we went and added the main line for the program, which enables you to run it. You cannot run your program without the main without this main line here. So in this case I'm going to go ahead and say finish, and this is because we're running multiple classes. You're not going to need the main program in both of them, that main line. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here and create a variable, and we're going to create a variable called balance. So in the past we always did variables as public, but in this case we're going to make this one private, and I'm going to tell you why. And we're going to make it a double, and we're going to call it balance. Okay, so the reason why I made it private is I only want this class to be able to modify the balance. If I were to make it public, that variable could be edited by other classes. So someone else could come along, maliciously or not, and create another class that could modify the balance. In this case, private makes it so that only this variable is only visible to that class which it belongs. Okay, so I want to do a couple things here. We're going to set the balance and just make a couple comment lines. We're going to set the balance to 0, and then let's go ahead and create a deposit. And let's do a withdraw. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and get balance. And the two forward slashes are comment lines. Alright, so just set my balance. So how I do that, I type public count, and then we go ahead and open brackets, and then we set the balance to $0. So this one's very basic. Alright, now we're going to go down and make a deposit. So for the deposit, when I create my method, it's going to be public, and then I'm going to use void deposit, and then the deposit is going to be a double, not an integer, because you could add dollars and cents. And then what we're going to do is add the amount. Close those parentheses. Now I'm going to go ahead and open brackets, and now in here this is going to be a simple statement. Balance is equal to balance plus amount. Okay, so the deposit is the amount, the balance is going to be equal to balance plus the balance is equal to balance plus the amount. Okay, so notice I put void here, and that's because this method does not return anything. So you'll see later when we do the get the balance, then we have, it's not void, it's going to be a double that it returns. Okay, so now I'm going to go down here to withdraw, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Again, we're not returning anything, so we're going to go here and do withdraw. If I could type. And again, we're going to do double the amount, open bracket, and then we're going to go ahead and set balance is equal to balance minus the amount. So very basic. And let me fix that. Okay. And now for the get balance, what we want to do is we want to do public. In this case, it's not void. We want to return a double, so we do a double, and I do get balance. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead again, open the brackets, And then what do I want? I want to return something in this method, so I'm going to do return balance. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now this is where we get into using multiple classes. I'm going to create another class here, and I'm going to call it, I'm going to go ahead and call it bank main. Okay, and in this case I'm going to go ahead and add the main argument. And then over here I want to go in here and I want to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an object. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an account. So I go in here, let me get rid of this. And I am going to create an object. And how I do that, I use the method, sorry, not the method, the class name, account, and then I'm going to go ahead and just create an account named cust1, and I'm going to say equals new account. And I could go ahead and add like an initial deposit and so forth here, but I'll do that on another line. So now I'm going to go ahead and let's put a comment here for a moment. I'm going to say create an account object. Alright, and see that I created that in the account class. So I'm going to go ahead and go down here, and then let's go ahead and set a deposit for this account. So we're going to do cust1. So that's our object that we created. Now I do dot, and you'll see that it'll automatically see the methods over here. So what do I want to do? I can scroll through many of these things, many of these options here, but I'm going to do deposit, and I'm going to set a deposit amount of $500. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to go ahead, let's go down here and let's create cust2. Alright, and I'll put a comment up here. Create cust1. I'll set this to be correct. Okay, so how do I create an object? I use the class name, cust2 is equal to new, again, class name, and there I've created that new cust2 object. Alright, now let's go ahead and have cust2 make a deposit, and $100, let's say. So I go down here. Now what I can do is I can go here, again there's a shortcut if I want to do system.out.println, I can do SYSO, hit the control key while holding it down and hit the space bar, and it will do the system.out.println for you. And I can say cust1, and then I can do get balance. Okay, and you see that get balance returns a double. Alright, and then I can do the same thing for cust2. And now I can go down here and I can save my program. And oh, I don't think now I can run this one because it has the main argument. Run as a Java application. And now you can see down here in the console it came out customer 1 has a balance of $500 and customer 2 has a balance of $100. So a couple things here. One thing we can do here is I can go here and do system. I'll just keep this really simple right now. I can do print and say cust1. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Cust1 has a balance of, and then it will pull this one here on the same line since I didn't do print line there. And then I can do this here. I can do system.out.print. And I'd probably just want to make this one statement rather than multiple lines, but I just want to do something quick here to demo a couple things. And now, I forgot my semicolons. And you can see that if I hover over the little arrow here. Alright, so now I'm going to run that again. Let's see if that comes out. There you go. cust1 has a balance of 500. cust2 has a balance of 100. So now I want to do something else here. Let's go over here and do cust2 dot, instead of deposit, let's do a withdrawal, and let's say they want to withdraw $400. Now I go ahead and run that, and now customer 2 has a balance of $400. So what we probably want to do is not allow that, or what we would want to do is not allow that. So I'm going to go over here to withdraw, and I'm going to go ahead and say, run an if-else statement. We're going to say if the amount is less than or equal to the balance, what do we want to do? We want to put in brackets, we want to run this statement right here, balance is equal to balance minus amount. So cut and paste that. Then once we do that, we close our brackets and we run an else statement. And then after that, what we want to do is say system.error.println and say transaction canceled due to insufficient funds, let's say. Alright, and then let's close that out. And now let's go ahead and let me save that. Let's go back to the main, and now this time I'm going to run this again, and it should not allow that. Okay, customer 1 has a balance of transaction canceled due to insufficient funds, and oh, sorry, this needs to be cleaned up. It's just where it placed it, but you can see customer 1 actually has a balance of $500, customer 2 has a balance of $0, and that transaction's canceled due to insufficient funds, but that actually applies to customer 2. So as part of the follow-up, we'll clean this up a little bit and make it so that it comes out a lot more cleaner here. But that's really what I want to share with you today. Thanks for joining, and please subscribe. Take care.